Welcome to the Creamsicle Chronicle podcast. My name is JT Olson. With me, as always, is my co-host Garrett Ballard. Garrett, how are you on this fine evening?
I'm doing pretty well. As well as I can be watching my Lightning most likely lose lose the series, have their season end. But it is what it is.
Yeah, it's always tough losing that first playoff series after repeating as back-to-back champion. It's a rough life
It's a
out
tough
there.
life. It's a tough life.
I, Red Wings haven't made the playoffs in like a decade, but it's cool.
Hey, it's coming. It's coming. The eyes are playing, man. I've been there.
Yes, it's all taking shape beautifully. It's just, it's still a year or two away.
Yeah. But this is a Bucs podcast, as we've said before, not a hockey podcast. There's some big news that came out just a couple hours ago tonight. The NFL schedules have been released for every team, and that is including the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who have, I think it's like the second hardest schedule in the NFL based off last year's records. So not going to be a walk in the park by any means.
No, and I believe you have the schedule pulled up. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Yes.
And really, we knew the teams that we were going to play. We've known that for months.
Right.
All the first place teams in the NFC, we're playing the Chiefs in a crossover game. So really, we're just learning the order we play. We knew the caliber of teams we were going to play, but seeing some of these chunks of games where they really kind of pile up, it's kind of like
It's ominous.
Yeah.
The first 4 games are a gauntlet.
Yeah. Do you have that? Can you pull that up here on the share screen?
Oh, let me do that real quick. One moment. I should have had this prepped before. My bad.
It's all right. This is great content. The YouTube viewers are loving it.
Send it. All right. Now I do this. Not that. Producers getting it pulled up. Bear with us. We are here.
While that's happening, as Garrett said, first 4 games, not great. If you're looking to ease yourself into the season, it's really full throttle right off the bat. And it starts with game 1, which I think is probably actually the easiest game.
Is that any better? That's a bit better.
I think that's better.
Yeah.
So week 1, opening the season at Dallas, just like we did last year, starting with the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was at that game actually in Tampa. That was an electric game. It was a really, really good time. But this time we're all the way out in Dallas. Looking at what they've done, they added an offensive tackle in the first round. But they really haven't wowed me this offseason. I think this should be a win for us.
Yeah, the game was close last year because I think the Bucs turned it over 3 times.
Yeah, it's not great.
So it was really more of sloppy play on the Bucs' part. And the Cowboys got undeniably worse.
Yes.
They lost their best wide receiver, and they lost the right half of their offensive line.
And one of their best pass rushers.
Oh, yeah, that was Randy Gregory, right?
Yes.
So, yeah, I think this game, even though it's on the road, I think this should be a more comfortable win for the Bucs than it was even last year.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Speaking of wins for the Bucs, they are non-existent in this next game.
Yeah, this is not happening. Until I see it, the Bucs are always underdogs against the Saints.
Yeah, and it's one of those, it doesn't really matter until the playoffs kind of things. But, man, it'd be nice to beat New Orleans.
I want to beat them bad in the regular season. It's really annoying just sitting there knowing we're, like, last year, we were the better team. Like, no doubt about it. And they just beat us both times. And it's really, really frustrating. Obviously, this is going to be a different dynamic. Sean Payton no longer there. They got some more offensive weapons and Chris Olave. But without Teron Armstead, without Sean Payton, it will be really, really interesting to see how this offense operates. We know that their defense is going to be solid. Dennis Allen, the defensive coordinator, took over as head coach, and he's done a great job for pretty much ever. So I think it really comes down to how the offense is going to look But as I said earlier, until I actually see the team beat the Saints are the favorites.
Yeah, I mean, if losing 7 regular season games in a row wasn't enough, they just go out and add the honey badger like it's no big deal.
Yeah, that was a big ad.
Next up, one of what I think we believe are the top 3 teams in the NFC, including the Bucs. Home opener versus Green Bay.
Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. The Ray J is going to be packed, man. It's going to be electric in there. But I think kind of like the Cowboys, the Packers got undeniably worse. Despite that, their quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, so you can never, ever count them out. This is going to be, I think, a really cutthroat game, down to the wire type. It's going to be super exciting, but I think in the end, the Bucs should be able to pull it out.
Yeah, before we knew the order, the Packers were a team I knew I wanted us to play early on.
Yeah.
Just because the loss of Davante Adams is so huge.
Yep.
At this point in the year, I think they're still going to be looking for answers on how to fill that void. Yeah. And Aaron Rodgers won't be bad. I mean, he's Aaron Rodgers. He's a 2-time back-to-back MVP going into this year. But you don't just replace Davante Adams. It's going to take a few weeks to figure out where is that production coming from. Who do I trust? Who are my go-to guys? So even though the Packers are good, I think this is a game that I like the Bucs in because of when we play them.
Yeah, I really do like that reasoning too. Obviously, their big ads were Devontae Wyatt in the first round, and then they traded up for Christian Watson. Am I right, or did they?
They did. Yep.
Yeah, they traded up for Christian Watson, who freak athlete. I don't think is a really complete receiver just yet, and I don't think he will be by this time either. So, like you said, they're going to be kind of scrambling for answers on offense. And I have complete faith in our offensive line to shut down whatever their defensive line throws at us. And our receivers are our receivers. They're going to do what they do. So,
yeah, because they lost Preston Smith this offseason.
And no, they lost Zadarius.
They lost one of the Smiths.
Yeah, they lost Zed. He went to the Vikings.
So they definitely lost some depth in their front 7, and he's a really good player. So I think the Bucs are the better team in general. Being at home is a plus. Getting them early on, I think, is a plus. Waiting for that team to gel. I'd be much more concerned about this game if we were in the playoffs.
Absolutely. Which we could be. We could be.
I would expect us to be.
I think this is going to be take it like a fine wine. Get better with age. The Packers.
Yep, and we look back on week 3 in January or whenever it is, and we say, "Oh, we beat them by 2 touchdowns. This is going to be a breeze." Don't lie to yourself. They're going to be a better team in the playoffs than when we see them in week 3.
Probably. We could make judgments when we get there, but from our projections, yeah, they will be.
Next team, I kind of get similar feelings about. Super Bowl rematch, Kansas City Chiefs at home.
This is a tough one because I think the Chiefs are always going to be a good team with Patrick Mahomes. But I do think they're the one team in the AFC West that didn't really impress me this offseason. I loved their draft, though. Free agent-wise. I loved their draft. Their draft was phenomenal, I think. We'll get into that later. We'll do some draft episodes coming up, but they killed the draft. But that's a lot of young talent you got to rely on early in the season against a very experienced, well-coached team in the Buccaneers. This is a primetime game, the second of 5 that the Bucs have. We are slotted at the max. I think for the second year in a row. If we didn't have 5 last year, we had 4, but. This will be another really, really exciting game, I think. But like I said, the Chiefs got a lot of young talent, and I'm going to take the vets in the Bucs in this one, I think.
Yeah, I agree. And it's really the same problem for the Packers.
Mm-hmm.
You lost Tyreek Hill.
Yep.
And as much as I think Tyreek Hill is a dirtbag off the field,
right,
he is an incredible talent on the field.
Heck of a player.
And he is single-handedly almost the reason the Chiefs torched the Bucs in the regular season 2 years ago.
Yep.
He had, 200 receiving yards in that game?
It was crazy.
And yeah, I agree. I liked their draft. I think they got Sky Moore, who's a guy I was really high on, to kind of fill that void a little bit. But week 4, they're still going to be trying to figure out who is my go-to guy outside of Travis Kelce.
Yep.
And I know Andy Reid, one of the best offensive minds in the game. They will get there. Week 4 is probably still a little bit of experiment time. Who do I trust now?
Yeah. I was like, this is obviously like a crazy 4-game schedule to open with for the Bucs, but I think these are 4 teams that are going under some really, really intense changes that are going to take a little bit of time to get used to. And whether they do that early or later is only going to like tell us how these games are going to play out. Like if the Chiefs and the Saints and these other teams that aren't the Cowboys that we play in week 1 come out and show out, they're like, oh, there's been little turnover, these projections will change. But a lot of big changes for these teams that, I mean, are going to take time to get used to. And it's just a matter of how early they do it. I do think with the Chiefs, this is going to be right around the time when it's going to be close. Like, I feel like by week 4, they're going to be either figuring it out or real close to figuring it out. This is going to be a really good game. I think going 2-2 in these first 4 games is a win. I think if we get 3-1, like I think we both expect right now, we are ecstatic.
Yeah, and the schedule lightens up after this point a little bit. So if they are 2-2, which is a little bit below my expectation, that's fine because there's plenty of ground to make up. These are a few of the hardest teams you're going to see all year. I mean, Packers were really a blizzard away from being in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs have gone to the AFC Championship game 4 years in a row. I think
so. Yeah.
So these are the best teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
Two out of these 4, and the other one's the Saints, who we haven't beaten in like 4 years.
And the Cowboys are a good team. Like they're a good team. Yeah. Dak Prescott's a great quarterback. Just kind of be weird to see how they play. But
after that gauntlet of the schedule, the NFL did the Bucs a favor, and they threw them the Falcons. Nice little rebound there.
Yep. Falcons game is always a blessing because they are bad, and they have, I don't think, gotten better. They got Marcus Mariota slotted to be their starter, at least week 1. I feel like Desmond Ridder is going to take over pretty early on. I don't think Desmond Ridder is great, but I feel like that's just going to happen. But this is a win. If we lose this game, that's a problem.
Yeah, the Falcons might be the worst roster in the NFL.
It's very bad.
And last year they were the year before their rebuild. This is really the first year of their rebuild, and they have gutted their team.
Yeah. If we're looking for a game that we could see Logan Hall have his first big impact, it's this one. Their offensive line is one of the worst I've seen in a long time.
Their offensive line, their receiving core,
it's all bad.
It's bad.
It's all bad. You're literally relying on Kyle Pitts and who else did they draft? Drake London, yeah. Kyle Pitts and Drake London. That's it.
Yeah.
From either Desmond Ridder or Marcus Mariota. So have fun, man. AJ Terrell, their best player by far.
Yeah, they do have a couple of good players on defense. You mentioned Terrell.
Rudy Jarrett, yeah.
Rudy Jarrett just got extended. I think they still have Deion Jones.
Yep.
A couple of good players.
But that's one player at every level. I think you can get by with one good linebacker and one probably just average to below average one, but there's no way you can get by with only one good D lineman and one good secondary player. That's just going to catch up to you really, really early in the year. And I just kind of see that the Bucs are going to find whoever AJ Terrell is not covering and throw it to them because we got a few options other than one guy. So
yeah, I think this is just going to be an absolute crushing of the Falcons.
Yeah, it should be. I think also I hope they don't get like complacent. They're coming off a grueling 4 games and they're like, oh, we got the Falcons, okay. Because like any team can beat any team in the NFL in any given week. We know this. Like the Jags beating the Bills last year in that weird game. But I don't think that'll happen. This team's disciplined. They got Tom Brady at quarterback. This should be a slaughter.
Next one. A game I think could be similar, but I'm a little hesitant to say so because there are some top-end players who I really like on this team.
Yeah.
At Pittsburgh, playing the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Steelers have some phenomenal players, but I just think it comes down to, the Bucs. I'm going to say this actually instead of what I was just about to say. The Bucs struggle with rookie quarterbacks. They always have, and it's weird. They win the games sometimes, they lose them the other few, and obviously the Steelers are going to be with Kenny Pickett, the rookie quarterback, their first-round pick. If it were just a normal prediction, there's no reason the Bucs should lose this game. Kenny Pickett, I don't think is very good. I don't think they did enough to strengthen their offensive line. I just think this should be a complete defensive masterclass. And then I think if we can contain DJ or TJ Watt, Stephon, all their entire D line is insane. We will win the game.
Are we 100% sure that Kenny Pickett is capable of beating out Mitch Trubisky? Are we just 100% sure of that?
I'm pretty confident that they're going to start Pickett. Look, I know people a lot of people out there I think are overrating Mitch Trubisky because Buffalo said he was a good backup. Last time I saw him start a game, it was bad. So I'm willing to take a chance on the younger guy. And I feel like the Steelers are going to start the season that way. By week, 6? That could change. But
honestly, I could see Pickett starting the year and being benched by week 6 because I think he's just awful.
Yeah, he's not good, that's for sure. So if they are going to make the switch, it would be around this game. I do think that'd be kind of rude to Mitch Trubisky to just throw him in against one of the best defenses in the NFL. That'd be kind of brutal for him. But
you know what? That's why you go get a journeyman backup / starter. So you can feed him to the Wolves and protect your first-round pick investment because you don't really care what happens to Mitch Trubisky at this point.
Yeah, that's fair.
But you mentioned it. The only thing I'm really concerned about is TJ Watt.
Yeah.
TJ Watt is, if not the best defensive player in football, he's definitely top 3.
Top 3 for sure.
It's Aaron Donald, TJ Watt, and Myles Garrett for me.
Yeah, those are the 3. You're right. Dude's a stud. I feel like he's just going to be going up against Donovan Smith all game because they're not going to put him against Tristan Wirfs. I always think he does rush from that side anyway. Donovan Smith can, I don't want to say eliminate because that's not going to happen. If they can neutralize him, that's a good thing. That's an absolute win. But we should win this game. We should.
Definitely.
Yep.
Just please protect Tom Brady. That's my only fear with this game.
Yeah,
45-year-old quarterback with a monster pass rusher coming at him all day.
Yeah. So just a quick update. We have them beating the Cowboys, losing to the Saints, beating the Packers and the Chiefs, beating the Falcons and the Steelers. So we currently have them at 5-1, which would be a phenomenal start to a season.
It would. I'd be very happy. I usually set my expectations pretty high, and I'm frequently disappointed by this franchise until recently.
I think a lot of teams, like fans, set their expectations for a season really, really high, like too high. Whenever the schedule releases, they kind of see the games, and they will kind of just weasel their way into thinking that the Jets are better than the Chiefs and will pick them to win that game for some reason. I always try to temper my expectations. I think the realistic option for the first 4 games is 2-2. I think that's most likely what's going to happen. But even that's a 4-2 start. That's still plenty good.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Expectations and delusion need to be separated.
Yes,
I
definitely.
was listening to Lions fans call into the radio and talking about 11 win seasons coming up this year, and that's just
Look, y'all had a great draft. You still got Jared Goff as your quarterback, man.
it's
Like,
brutal.
slow your roll.
But I think for this team, who I think everyone can agree is a legitimate Super Bowl contender,
Yeah.
5-1 is a fair expectation.
4-2 at the worst.
Agreed.
I think if it's any worse than that, it's a disappointing start.
And then if we didn't have 5 wins at this point by now, we're getting 5 wins next week, going to Carolina to play the Panthers.
Yeah, I really like the NFC South is bad, man. Like the Saints are our boogeymen, but they're still a team going under major changes that I don't think are very good yet. They'll beat us probably, maybe twice, likely twice. But the other two teams are abysmal. They are two of the worst teams in the NFL. Panthers made a great first round pick in Icky Ekwonu, but then they did that thing they did with Will Greer and picked Matt Corral in the third round. And they're going to throw him in there at some point in the season, 100%. And I hope it's this game.
It's such a weird quarterback room in Carolina. Sam Darnold, who is Sam Darnold. Matt Corral, who I guess is as good as most rookie quarterback options in this draft. I mean, good, but
I don't know. He was bad this year. Like I know a lot of people had him QB1. I really didn't think he was good. Like I think he got worse from his 1 million pick season. I would have rather taken 2020 Matt Corral than 2021 Matt Corral personally.
Either way, I think the Bucs are going to just absolutely crush him.
Now there are talks that Baker Mayfield could end up a Carolina Panther. That does not change anything.
It'd be interesting. I wouldn't mind crushing Baker Mayfield.
They'll be better, but he's not enough to change the outcome of this game. Oh man. The Panthers. Who else did they get in the second round? I can't remember. But they have not been very good for a long time. I don't think Matt Rule's the guy there. The Bucs have beat them how many times in a row? At least 4, right?
Gosh, I can't remember them losing to the Panthers since before they ended Cam Newton's career.
Yeah, I think you're right. It was definitely Cam Newton. Yeah, it was. I know we've beat them since we've had Tom Brady every game, so that's at least 4 games. But besides the point, this will be the 5th. So,
and I don't hate this Panthers roster. It's just not on the Bucs level.
Yeah. Also, like even if you like this roster a bit, because I like a lot of the players on this team. I have zero faith in Matt. We've talked about it. I have zero faith in Matt Rule.
Matt Rule or Matt Corral. This is a bad day to be a Matt in Carolina.
Yeah, this is a bad day to be a Matt if you're talking to Garrett Ballard.
All right. Next game. This is one of the more interesting games on the schedule for me.
Definitely.
Home versus the Ravens.
Thursday night game, the third primetime game. This is definitely an interesting one. I don't know what to think of this because the Bucs, I'm trying to think. They haven't really faced a running threat like Lamar. I mean, no one's a running threat like Lamar Jackson, but it'll be interesting to see how Todd Bowles tries to contain him in the run game because I feel like if they can eliminate that part of his game, this will be a pretty straightforward win for them because while I think Lamar's a good passer, he's nowhere at the level needed, I think, to carry the team with his arm over an opponent like the Bucs.
Yeah, I think this is a good matchup for the Bucs, and I feel uncomfortable saying that because Lamar Jackson is so dynamic.
Yeah.
He can put the team on his back and change the outcome single-handedly.
Mm-hmm.
But with Vita Vea in the middle controlling the offensive line and the speed of Devin White and Levante David sideline to sideline and the way Todd Bowles uses his safeties, I think we can take away the field going from sideline to sideline.
It's 100% in our favor. I don't think there'll be many people that'll disagree with that. It's just it's good in theory. That's all I'm trying to say. In real life, anything can happen because we know Lamar is so electric. He can really do anything on the field. And don't let me saying that his arm isn't like enough to completely carry this team to lead you to undervalue his arm. The dude could throw. He's one heck of a thrower. But if we're talking about his skill set, this team's firing on all cylinders when both are flowing nicely. So,
and for him, what makes him great, it only takes one missed tackle. Yeah. It only takes one bad angle, and he can take it to the house on any given play.
And we know the Bucs aren't strangers to the occasional missed tackle every now and then, or bad angle. I think we've seen Devin White take some bad angles. I think we need our corners to actually run defend a lot in this game and come up and make some big tackles if they're downfield on passes that Lamar scrambles from. But it'll be really interesting. I think this is another win, though.
I'd agree with that. And I respect the Ravens. I think this is a good team. I think it's definitely a fun matchup.
Yeah.
But for the reasons we mentioned, I think it just favors the Bucs a little bit on paper.
Mm-hmm. I'd agree.
This one is not a good matchup.
No, this is bad.
This is a bad matchup. And not just because of the results in recent years, but we have not fared well against the Rams because they're a bad matchup.
We cannot stop the Sean McVay offense.
And we cannot protect the slot. We cannot stop Cooper Kupp.
Cannot. I think this is like the first game of the year where I'm like, this is a loss. Like I expect us to lose this game.
I agree for kind of the Saints reason you mentioned.
Yeah.
Show me you beat them, and I'll believe you'll beat them.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah, I think I think it's a bit more so the fact that the Rams are just I can't say that because the Saints, how do I want to phrase this? I don't know why the Saints beat us because I think we're capable of beating them. I fully understand why the Rams beat us.
And the Rams, they are not a team, I think, who got drastically worse in the offseason. They lost Von Miller, which is a big loss. Right. And they lost Robert Woods, who is not a better player than the receiver they added, whose name has escaped me.
Allen Robinson,
not Brian Robinson. Thank you. Yeah. I think Robinson is a better player in general, but I think the Bucs match up with him better than they do Robert Woods.
Yeah, I do too.
Carlton Davis can lock him up.
He did in the game, that incredibly frustrating Chicago game 2 years ago. Carlton Davis did a great job against Allen Robinson. It's going to take a team effort to contain Kupp, though. I think we're going to have to pull out all the stops, bracket him, because there's no way that they can stick Sean Murphy Bunting one-on-one and expect a good result with Cooper Kupp.
No, I mean, Cooper Kupp had one of the best wide receiver seasons ever, maybe the best last year.
Yeah.
He's going to get his. Mm-hmm. No one can guard him one-on-one on this team.
We just have to make sure we get ours.
Yeah.
At some point. And I mean on defense, because we'll get ours on offense. We know that. I'm just talking about on defense because, I say we'll get ours on offense, but if we come out looking like we did in the postseason, in the playoffs last year, that was a bad first half. And then I know we brought it back, but we had a lot of missed opportunities in the second half that we could have had points from and just didn't. So,
And it took like 4 Rams fumbles for us to get back in that game. That was a
yes.
blowout for all intents and purposes until it wasn't.
Yep. Exactly. Like we were talking about, I'm going to say the Rams beat us here based off of everything we just said. The pass, the fact that we cannot stop this offense. And if I will think that until this team proves me wrong. So,
Yep. I think the Bucs are closer now, but like you said, show me.
yep. So I think, real quick, win against Dallas, loss against the Saints, win against the Packers, win against the Chiefs, win against the Falcons, the Steelers, the Panthers, and the Ravens, and then a loss against the Rams. That has us at, what is that?
I believe that's 7-2.
Yes, indeed. 7-2 going into the international game in Munich, Germany against the Seattle Seahawks. Set your alarms early. This is a 9:30 a.m. game on NFL Network, obviously because the Europeans are 6 hours ahead of us over there in Germany. If we lose this game, I don't know what's going on.
Are you saying that you have no respect for the Drew Lock-led Seattle Seahawks?
Absolutely none.
Garrett, may I remind you that Drew Lock is getting the first Monday Night Football game of the year. He is the face of the NFL right now.
Why is he getting that?
Russell Wilson is returning to Seattle.
Okay, well that makes sense.
But even with that storyline, it's like, really, you're going to make me stomach watching what is, in my opinion, the worst starting quarterback in the NFL?
Oh, absolutely, he is dreadful.
And there are some bad quarterbacks out there. I mean, we touched on Matt Corral and Marcus Mariota, and Drew Lock is a level below them.
He's very, very bad. He hasn't played football in a year, and the last time we saw him play, it was not pretty. This should be a slaughter. Like I mean, Falcons level bad. This team isn't good.
This is a game where if you want to do some day drinking, you want to make some pancakes and watch it, this is going to be a good time game for the Bucs.
I also do think the Seahawks had a good draft, but this is not enough. It was not enough.
No, Seahawks, they're going to be bad.
Yep.
They're another one in that conversation for top 5 pick.
Yeah, there are very few teams that picked in the top 10 that are there like organically, not like trading or anything like that, who I think are going to make a huge impact this year in any way, even if their draft picks were good. Like a lot of teams killed it that picked in the top 10. You're still going to be bad this year probably. Like I hate to break it to you, but that's most likely going to happen. So brace. Seahawks are one of those teams. They should not win this game.
Game, I guarantee you the Bucs will not lose. Week 11 bye week.
Yes, sir. There we go.
Yep. Take your kids to the pumpkin patch. Get some housework done. Breathe easy.
I think this is a good bye week. Good placement. I mean,
yeah, I like it in the back half of the season.
Yeah, but not too far back. Like it's nice and pretty central, but it's right before a stretch of games that we can walk away with quite a few wins here. So I think it's a nice placement for it.
And I think it comes at a good time because it's the game or the week right before we play the Browns.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Browns? The Browns are a really interesting team this year.
They are an interesting team. I guess it just all depends on if Deshaun Watson is going to get suspended or not, right?
Yeah, it's hard to say what's going to happen there because he's kind of been in limbo for a year with no suspension, but he didn't play.
Right. But because I could easily see us losing this game if he's playing. I should say easily. I could see us losing this game if he's playing because we'll put up a fight if he's playing. But
if he's not playing, we win.
Yeah.
I think on paper, in a vacuum, the Browns are the best roster in the NFL.
Yeah, that's fair. In a vacuum, sure.
because there's matchups and things like that.
The Rams are up there, but yeah.
Yeah, you have to see how Watson kind of adjusts to a new situation, a new offense. Will he, won't he play? Let's not forget, this is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. Deshaun Watson is an incredible football player.
Garbage human, like absolute trash, but tremendous football player.
Nick Chubb, very good running back. Offensive line, spectacular. Myles Garrett, maybe the best defensive player in the world.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot to like with this Browns team.
Secondary, they got Denzel Ward, who's one of the best young corners in the NFL. Greg Newsome, who's going to, I think, really break out this season, a guy they drafted last year. They got like 7,000 safeties. But a lot of good ones. They got like
do they still have
Grant
John
Delpit.
Johnson?
Yeah, they got John Johnson. I don't know if they kept Ronnie Harrison. I can't remember. But they got a lot of good secondary players, a lot of good defensive players.
Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah.
Yep. And obviously they added Amari Cooper, who tore up the Bucs week 1 last year.
I knew that when I was talking about the Cowboys, but when I actually got to the Browns, I completely forgot about Amari Cooper.
Wait, was it him that owned us, or was it CeeDee Lamb? It was him, right?
I think it was CeeDee.
Okay, yeah. I just want to check.
Either way, Amari Cooper, very good receiver.
Yep. Very, very good receiver. That's for sure.
This is one I have trouble deciding what I think will happen. I like that the Bucs are coming off the bye for this game.
Yeah.
I think the Bucs have a comparable roster. I don't know what to make of the matchup. I think it's really balanced in some ways.
It's really tough because I feel like at this point, if Deshaun Watson's playing, he is either – I think he'll be off a suspension if he's playing at this point. Like I fail to see a world where he doesn't get suspended for at least 6 games.
You know what I want?
Huh?
I want the NFL to not suspend Deshaun Watson because the Browns set up the contract where they're only paying him like $1 million this year.
Oh, you're right.
So I want them to not suspend him until like week 16, and it's going to be like a 6-game suspension just to stick it to him. Like, oh yeah, you get all your money, but you're not coming around for the playoffs. Stay home.
I would respect that.
Like, I would you tried to cheat the system. That's great. Good for you. This is what's happening.
Yeah, and by the way, it was both Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb last year.
They both.
Amari Cooper had more yards and more touchdowns, but yeah.
But CeeDee Lamb had one Sean Murphy bunting elbow.
Yeah, that was man, this is like a contingent one.
Here's where I'm at with this one.
Yeah.
I think on paper the Browns would win this game, but I think coming together with all the controversy and uncertainty, it favors the Bucs.
Well,
that being said, I want to give this game to the Browns just to be conservative.
Yeah, I'm going to say that if I was just going to say the Browns. I think there's that one game that's always weird a year, and I think this is probably going to be it.
No, this is too normal to be that weird game. It's going to be like
I disagree. Too normal.
17 Panthers. That's going to like, wow, how did we lose to them?
No way.
Like you mentioned the Bears a few years ago, and that was
true.
like a game we should have rolled them in, and it just didn't play out that way.
It's weird because of the quarterback thing. Like if Watson isn't playing, who's our backup? Is it Case Keenum?
I want to say Tyrod Taylor.
Oh wow, I didn't even know that. Okay.
I know they still have Baker Mayfield, who will be gone by this point, I'm sure.
Right.
But I thought they signed Tyrod.
I have no idea. I can't remember, but I don't know, man. It's weird. I'll give him the loss, expecting Watson plays. So.
All right. Speaking of loss, it's time for our annual Saints game.
Yeah, at home.
Expect
no more than 6 points. I'll give it a loss as well. 2 in a row. That'd be a bad stretch.
And I think there's every reason to believe the Bucs could beat them, like you've touched on.
Of course.
But
it's another primetime game. Why? 3 years in a row, primetime Saints at home. It's just bound for another loss. This is heartbreaking.
Because we as Bucs fans have to be served a certain amount of pain.
Of course. It's just in the rule book. But yeah, I'm not going to explain the matchup of a Saints game until we actually beat them in the regular season for once. Because they'll just beat us if I'm predicting anything.
Yeah. This is a game Bucs are fully capable of winning. They just don't.
Yep.
Next matchup. Going cross country to San Francisco. This is an interesting game because
This could be a weird one.
Yeah. Who's the quarterback in this game?
Trey Lance.
Do you think it's going to be Trey Lance at this point?
100%. Trey Lance is good.
What are they going to do with Jimmy G? Are they just going to sit him on the bench and say, thanks for everything? It was a good
I don't
Super
know,
Bowl.
but if they don't start Trey Lance week 1, it's a failure. By them. Not by him. By them.
It's hard to say because Trey Lance was a little bit raw coming out in terms of his processing. It just depends on where he's at in his development.
Well, the thing is, it's like, yeah, he was raw in his processing, but he went to the most quarterback-friendly system in the league.
He did.
With elite physical tools. If he's not starting early this season and already outperforming Jimmy G, I'd be stunned.
And it wouldn't be the end of the world if he sat 2 years because Aaron Rodgers sat 2 years. You can have a great quarterback sit and develop if that's what he needs. And
I
he
want
can
to
still
talk
be
about
great.
this.
But I think just the level of talent, Jimmy G is not good.
Yeah, no, he's
Trey
not.
Lance is good. He just needs a little seasoning.
Yeah.
How else are you going to get him seasoning if you're not going to play him?
I think by what is this, week 13, 14?
Mm-hmm.
13. He'll be well on his way as a starter.
Do the Niners concern you if Trey Lance is a starter?
Absolutely.
Because I was going to say, I know they don't worry me if Jimmy G's out there.
Yeah, if Jimmy G's out there, I don't really care. But if Trey Lance is starting, that dude is a freak show. His arm and his ability to run, that's like he's a heck of a talent.
Yeah, Josh Allen-esque in terms of his running, throwing ability.
Yeah, for sure. Real quick, before we give our win-loss predictions for this game, we spoke of a starter or a quarterback that you drafted sitting 2 years before seeing the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was a tweet this week that came out about a certain Bucs quarterback who they drafted in the second round who's going to be sitting for the second year. No, everyone knew he was going to be sitting, but the tweet said he's not expected to touch the backup role, which means he's going to be the third string quarterback, rarely dressing on game day for the second year in a row. And I don't want to hear anybody, I'm talking about Kyle Trask, if any of you haven't caught on by now. If any of you are out there saying, oh yeah, give him more time to develop, this is perfect. No, it's not. You can give him time to develop, but to see no progress from 1 year to another after being a top, 65 selection to the Super Bowl champions with Tom Brady as their starting quarterback. He can't even beat out Blaine Gabbert. Are you kidding me? This is a waste of a pick. At the best case scenario, this dude is seeing the field in the third year of his 4-year rookie contract. Horrible pick. Horrible, horrible, horrible pick. And I don't want to hear anybody tell me otherwise because you're wrong.
Well, here's the difference between sitting a guy like Trey Lance for 2 years and sitting a guy like Kyle Trask.
I definitely know there's a difference. I just brought it to mind.
Well, with Kyle Trask, what exactly are they trying to develop? His noodle arm or his lack of athleticism?
There's nothing. You're right. There's nothing. It was a bad pick to begin with. It's even worse now.
Trey Lance at least has incredible physical tools to where he could grow to be an MVP in this league.
Yeah.
Kyle Trask would be lucky to grow into being Blaine Gabbert.
I know a lot of you Bucs fans are Florida fans. I am one of them. I go to the college. You need to do a little bit of soul searching if you're thinking Kyle Trask is going to be a starting NFL quarterback and a good one.
Can I say something honest?
Yeah.
I honestly think the Bucs are bringing in a rookie minicamp tryout player who is a better quarterback than Kyle Trask.
Who'd they sign?
Akil Glass.
Oh, I like Akil Glass.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't think he's better than Trask, but I think he's pretty good.
I think he's better than Trask. I don't think Glass is going to be an eventual starter in this league, but I think he's better than Trask.
He has the tools to be. I don't think he is right now.
Gosh, it's hard to say.
Yeah, but
I know he won't take Trask's spot because of where Trask was drafted, but
right.
That would be a fun battle to watch.
Yeah, it would be. But yeah, people just need to be honest with themselves about the Kyle Trask pick. It wasn't a good one. Like he's not a good quarterback. I don't care if you're like hopeful that he's going to learn under Tom Brady, which he clearly hasn't done enough of in 1 year. He hasn't even moved up the roster. Like that's a problem. So I had to get my 2 cents, but
worth noting.
Yeah, I'm going to chalk this up as a loss, to be honest with you.
Ooh.
This 49ers game. I think this could be that weird one. I really have a lot of faith in Trey Lance as a player. I think he's really, really good. And I think that coupled with, if Debo's not there, that changes this. But if Debo is there, his talent coupled with Debo's talent, coupled with the offensive scheme of Kyle Shanahan, I could see it giving the Bucs some trouble.
I think they're trouble. I mean, they went to the NFC Championship game this year. They're a good team, very well coached. Big Kyle Shanahan fan here. I think this is the first game we really disagree on.
Yeah, you think this is like a clear win?
I think it's a win I feel comfortable in. It's a win the Niners could pull out. But I like this matchup for the Bucs.
Okay.
Because
explain. Yeah.
As much as we talk about Kyle Shanahan and what he does for the quarterback, where he really shines is with what they do in the running game.
Yeah, that's true.
That outside zone is lethal, and he just plugs anyone in there, and they are a great running back for him.
Yeah, I think my counterpoint to that is I think he was being held back by his quarterbacks, and Trey Lance is going to open up the playbook exponentially, and we're going to see things that we've never seen him run.
We could, but I think the Bucs are well equipped to take that run away. So I think
they are.
In the best case scenario, the Niners will be one-dimensional because Vita Vea is so strong and so fluid. He's a problem for any outside zone team.
Yeah, for sure. I think I'm just like way higher on Trey Lance than a lot of people. I think he's going to really light it up this year personally, but I think this is a 3-game stretch. I'm talking about like the Browns, Saints, and Niners that I don't have a lot of comfort with. I think all 3 of these games could go either way. And that could very well mean us going 0-3 out of the bye week, which is not good. But I could see it happening.
Possible. They're all good teams.
Yeah, they are.
I feel comfortable with this game for my personal predictions.
Yeah, I think I think at the end of the day we'll take at least 1. I hope 2. I think we'll lose one of them. I'd like to take 2, but realistically I think we take 1 and lose 2. But I'll have us taking this one. I do think this is probably the best matchup of the 3 for us. So I'll have them taking this one.
And it does not get any easier with the Bengals the week after.
Yeah. Now, the Bengals obviously went to the Super Bowl, probably should have won it. Great job by the Rams coming back, but the Bengals had that lead. I think it's pretty well understood that they kind of overachieved last year, at least from my point of view. They're a good team. I love Joe Burrow, love Jamar Chase. But I don't think anyone expected them to go on that run. I don't honestly think they expected to go on that run. But with all that said, they did everything right this offseason. They did everything that they needed to do to get back there. And this is a very, very good team now.
Yeah, it felt like they were a year or two early for that Super Bowl run.
Yeah.
Because I really like what they're building. I like the linebackers they've brought in. They developed those guys. They're good.
They've completely overhauled the offensive line, which is huge.
Yep. Alex Kappa, what?
Yep.
That's right.
Yep. Ted Karras, right?
Yep.
Good pickup.
So
good pickups.
I think they're definitely building in the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they're as good as the Bucs.
I don't either.
I don't think they do anything matchup-wise that really scares me. They have good players. The Bucs have good players. It's going to be kind of a best on best. I think the Bucs are just a better team.
I'm also not going to lie. Bengals fans would probably hate me for this, but I don't think Zach Taylor is that great of a head coach. Like, obviously they got to the Super Bowl, but I think Zach Taylor was kind of carried by his players. I mean, if you go back and look at some of the games that were close, his clock management and just the way he's running that game is not good. It's like suspect. Like, I can't remember the exact thing, but there was a moment in that Chiefs game that I was like, what are you doing, man? Like, it was weird. And that was a close game that they obviously ended up winning, but the AFC Championship I'm talking about. But
you know what coach I like on the Bengals? Is their defensive coordinator.
Who is it? I don't know.
His name is Lou
Anarumo or something like that. Yeah.
I think he's done a really good job there.
And they got Dax Hill, who's amazing. But
overall, I agree about Taylor. I think the Bucs will be the better coach team, which I don't say with as much confidence as I'd like to as they transition their head coach.
Right.
But I still think with Leftwich and Bowles in place, so much of what was there is coming back.
I also think if we're not settled into our new role by week 14, 15, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're going into the bye week with issues at the helm, I'm not happy.
And I don't think we will, because this isn't Todd Bowles' first rodeo. I think he's a very good coach, defensive minded, in particular.
Definitely.
There was nothing he did with the Jets where I thought, wow, this is just atrocious. He is just killing this team. Really, in the Jets, it was just a talent issue.
Yep.
So I think the Bucs are better coached. They're better talent.
Yep.
This is a game the Bengals could win because they are a good team, but I think this is a win for the Bucs for me.
Yeah, I think this is like the first 4 games, and then this 4-game stretch right out of the bye week is a tough one. Like, I could see all these games going either way. And luckily, I favor the veterans and the teamwork and the chemistry of the Bucs more than most teams in the NFL. So,
all right, 3 games left. I don't want to spend too much time on the Carolina Panthers and the Falcons because we've talked about them already.
We better end the year 2-0 in the last 2 games is what we're trying to say. We should, and we probably will.
Sandwich in between there, the Arizona Cardinals, Christmas Day in the desert.
I think you read that wrong. Not sandwich in between the Panthers and the Falcons, between the Bengals and the Panthers.
Yep.
Oh, I just misheard. My bad.
No, I don't think it was very clear.
Okay. All right.
What do you think of this game? Because I have a very strong opinion on it.
I don't think this is going to be close. I think we blow them out.
We are like-minded in that way.
Yeah.
The Cardinals, they looked great last year, and they were awful down the stretch.
Yeah.
This is a team that cannot finish.
The way this team has built their team is frustrating because they have so much talent, but they, ever since they got, so their last, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drafts, right? Quarterback, linebacker, tight end as their first 5 picks in each of the last 5 drafts. That's bad.
I
That's
feel
not good.
the Cardinals are a good. I don't know if I want to say a good team.
They're a
They've
good
been a
bad team.
successful team in recent years, and I think they might have the worst general manager in the NFL.
Oh, he's terrible.
Maybe Jacksonville beats him out, but
Oh,
Steve
my
Keim is
gosh.
not good at his
He's
job.
bad. Thank God we got Jason Light out of there before they hired him from within. But man, this should not be a close game, I think.
No, I think this game versus the Cardinals, next week versus the Panthers, the final week versus the Falcons, those are all blowout wins for the Bucs, gaining momentum going into the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. And we might end up sitting Brady week 17 or 18, whatever it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't want him getting too many snaps. Maybe like benched at halftime.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because you want him, we could have a round one bye going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you don't want him to be too rusty, but all right. So let's recap in totality.
Yeah, so we had them beating the Cowboys, losing to the Saints, beating the Packers, beating the Chiefs, beating the Falcons, beating the Steelers, beating the Panthers, beating the Ravens, and then ending our winning streak with a loss to the Rams, going over to Munich and beating the Seahawks. Bye week, we had them losing to the Browns, right?
Yes.
Yes. Losing to the Browns, losing to the Saints, beating the 49ers, beating the Bengals, beating the Cardinals, Panthers, and then rounding out the season with a win against the Falcons in Atlanta, bringing the total to that is
13-4.
13-4. Like we were saying earlier, that's very well could be too high expectations. Like I was saying, I don't think this is like a otherworldly expectation. This could very well happen. But I could also see us dropping games to the 49ers and either of the Packers or Chiefs and adding one or two more losses to that column. But we shouldn't. I think if we get less than like 11 wins, that's not a good season for us.
Yeah, there's always one fluky loss, whether it be because you're injured going into that game or, it's just a matchup thing that you weren't expecting. Someone just goes crazy. It feels like there's always one.
Yep. Now, I do think the first four games are always a bit of a toss-up anyway because it's like first couple games of the season, getting back into the groove of things. I'm going to favor us always because we play so well together with the team that they have right now. Out of the bye week is going to, I think, be really telling of how this team's going to perform in the playoffs. Because we play 3 probable playoff teams and then the Saints, who I think are going to be right on the bubble this year. If we can walk away with, I don't know. If we could walk away with all of them, that'd be great. 3 of them would be fantastic. I think 3 is probably the most likely scenario. At worst, we go 2-2, I think. But I think if we can come out, show some really competitive games against the Browns, Saints, Niners, and Bengals, and then round out the year with some strong wins against the Cardinals, Panthers, and Falcons, we'll be looking good going into the playoffs.
Yeah, it is really like a taste of the playoffs coming out of the bye.
Yeah.
Browns, Bengals, 2 teams who could potentially compete for the Super Bowl. Saints, who, if they played the Bucs every week, would be playing in the Super Bowl.
Right.
And the 49ers.
Yeah. Who are, again, a good team. I do want to say that all of these projections are based off of what we've seen last year, coupled with how we think their projection from the draft, from what the moves they made in the offseason, and those changes are. We will be wrong about these teams. Like we said, what did we say about we said the Steelers, like Kenny Pickett could suck. Who knows? He could be good. He could come out and shock the world and be good. But we don't think that's likely, so we're going to say that right now. This is not a binding statement from JT and I.
Right. Everything is so fluid in the NFL.
Everything.
One low hit on Tom Brady, even if he's not out for the year, if he misses a month, that totally changes the dynamic of the season.
Yep.
We saw Levante David miss time, Shaq Barrett miss time, the entire secondary pretty much missed time last year.
We did have the injury bug last year on defense.
It's a game of attrition. So what we see on paper right now is not what we're going to see week to week once the season actually starts.
Yep. But I think if we can come out of the bye strong, we'll be looking good. That's kind of my takeaway from this schedule.
And even if we don't, we have 3 weeks at the end to figure it out and get it together and go into the playoffs with a little bit of momentum.
Yep. I think if we're rocking into the last 3 weeks with like 8 wins, I'll be happy.
You said if we have 8 wins going into the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, if we and then win those 3.
So it'd make us 11
and 6. Like
Okay.
on a very worst case scenario.
Worst case, okay. I was gonna say I don't know if I'd be happy with.
Yeah, that was kind of like, I should have prefaced it, but that was kind of like bouncing off my statement earlier, saying that if we have any less than 11 wins, I'll be disappointed. So 11 being kind of like the least I'd want us to have.
One question. Let's say our projection becomes truth. The team is 13-4 going into the playoffs. Is that enough for the number 1 seed?
Absolutely.
You think that's it?
I do.
Because, we've talked about the Packers getting worse. We've talked about the Rams and losing Von Miller.
Right.
Those are really the threat. The Saints,
Right.
maybe. The 49ers went to the NFC Championship game, so maybe something there with Trey Lance.
It's like, well, I kind of look at it this way because we can beat every team on this schedule. We won't, but we can. If we can come out of that with 13 of the 17 possible wins against teams that are the strongest compiled schedule from last year, that's a 1 seed.
I think you could be right. There's no team who I think, man, that team's winning 14, 15 games.
I think if we do, there's very well could be like another team at 13-4, and then it just comes down to either
like the Packers tiebreaker last year.
Yes, something like that.
Packers.
Yeah.
All right. So it sounds like we're both feeling pretty confident here.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's any reason to not be, despite the hard schedule. I mean, the Bucs, great team. Should be one of the Super Bowl favorites. They are, but yeah.
Yep, I think between the changes made for their top competitors with Devontae Adams, Tyreek Hill, Sean Payton, you pick the team, you can point to a major change. The Browns have made major changes. The 49ers could be changing quarterbacks. There's a lot of uncertainty with our opponents.
Yep, which plays in our favor. I think the only thing that's kind of like, I do think, like I said earlier, a lot of the big changes of the best teams we're going to play we play early in the year. Yeah. So.
All right. Any final thoughts before we wrap this one up?
Excited for it, man. Excited for the preseason, see what we got going on, see how the draft picks are doing all summer. Excited for the future of this team.
Yep, should be a fun year. And keep in mind, none of it matters till we get to the playoffs. So
exactly. As long as we
that's
get
when
there,
the real
it's fine.
season begins.
Yep.
All right. He is Garrett Ballard. You can follow him on Twitter at NFL Ballard. I am JT Olson. You can follow me at Icewater Olson. We are part of the Around the Block podcast network. And until next time, go Bucs.
Go the Bucs.